Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one. Actually, I hope you're all having a great one. And welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. This is König Potato, or King Potato, translated from the original German. Or actually is it? Surely that should be König Kartoffel. Oh, you know what? Doesn't matter. I mean, you got it wrong coming and going. But it's really not important, and I am certainly not the person to be pointing fingers at people for getting stuff factually incorrect, am I? So yes, we'll just pretend that never happened and move on. King Potato here is, well, I mean, it's a Tier 10 battle because he's in the USS Austin, which is a Tier 10 light cruiser, but there are some Tier 9s and Tier 8s in this arms race battle here on the Islands of Ice map. He is, of course, in the all-singing, all-dancing star of stage, screen and dockyard canteen, the USS Austin. And it's fairly safe to say this is his favourite ship. I'm not saying he's got the most battles played in the Austin out of everybody who ever played the Austin, but he does have the fourth most battles played in the Austin out of everybody who ever played the Austin. At least on the North American server, which this is, with nearly 800 battles played in this ship alone. I think it's fairly safe to say he really, 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 really likes this ship. And there's a lot to like. Those of you who've seen Austin replays before will probably already know the drill, at least as far as that main battery reload booster is concerned. Because, as I'm sure veterans to this channel will be aware by now, whenever the captain of an Austin triggers that main battery reload booster, whoever is unfortunate enough for that Austin captain to be aiming at that point will suddenly enjoy the opportunity to die really, really quickly in the shade. The Austin is, well, it's basically a USS Atlanta at Tier 10 with a reload booster. There are other similarities, of course, between the Austin at Tier 10 and the Atlanta at Tier 7. They both have a similar amount of health, which is a problem for the Austin because the Atlanta is Tier 7 and has a small health pool by the standards of Tier 7 light cruisers, and the Austin's at Tier 10 and only has 3,200 more. That's bad. The Austin does at least have more armour than the Atlanta, but that's not necessarily a good thing, given the difference in tiers between the two ships, because while the Atlanta really does have desperately shitty armour, like 13 millimeters of plating, any large caliber shells that hit the Atlanta have a tendency to just overpenetrate and do minimal damage. But whereas the Austin enjoys up to 32 millimeters of armor, the same shells hitting the Austin will arm and explode inside instead of overpenetrating, and that's not good. Other differences, ooh, that's a lot of torpedoes. And while the Z-52 did well, technically, to only get hit by one of them, it's a Z-52. It's got what is arguably the best destroyer hydro in the game. It shouldn't really have been caught by any torpedoes this early in the match. Oh, speaking of which, Halland. That'll be where the torpedoes came from. Oh, and he's gotten himself spotted in open water with no smoke screen, and amongst other things, a very angry Austin with the main battery reload booster up. There it is. Austin go brrrt. You know, I could sit here all day talking about the strengths and weaknesses of this ship and comparing it to, well, anything, and it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. They just want to see Austin go brrrt. Well, there's going to be plenty of that in this video. So, you ain't going home disappointed. I mean, I suppose just for completeness' sake, I should also mention that the Austin is fairly unique amongst high-tier US Navy cruisers and that it doesn't get radar, although it does get hydro. I'm sure there's something else I should be mentioning. Something fairly important, but nope, it's gone. I'm sure I'll remember it later on and then blurt it out. Oh wait, yes, of course, semi-armor piercing ammunition. That was it, yes. Like the Italians, the Austin has semi-armor piercing ammunition and no high explosive, so it doesn't get to set fires. I mean, it has armor piercing as well, but nobody uses the armor piercing. Hang on, what's going on? Why is everybody dying? That's the Z-52's down. They've just lost their Sturdy, one of their submarine. Actually, their only submarine. And wow, the Benham? They've lost their Benham already? What's the Benham doing getting in a gunfight? Oh, this is not good. Well, that's a severe blow to morale. I mean, the Benham is a very, very strong torpedo destroyer, and losing that thing this early on in the match is going to be a Well, anyway, moving on. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, didn't. So there's a Fletcher and a Charles Martel over there. Now, the Fletcher's not going to be a problem. Don't get me wrong, the Fletcher's a good ship, but killing destroyers is kind of what this thing's for. Well, it isn't. Protecting battle groups from air attack is kind of what this thing's for, as well as chasing down submarines. But, that's in reality. Here in World of Warships, which has nothing to do with reality, killing destroyers is what this thing's for. The Charles Martel, on the other hand, could be a bit of a problem. French Tier 10 heavy cruiser with extremely large guns. Although not large enough to overmatch the up to 32mm of armour that the Austin has, but it's only up to 32mm, so you want to avoid getting shot at by the Charles Martel if at all possible. Unfortunately, you did just get spotted there, so if they're paying attention, they know you're coming and they're already swinging your guns around. He's turning to get out of there, but he's been spotted anyway, so Austin go brrrt. The Charles Martel did have his guns pointing this way, but he had the high explosive loaded, which means it will hurt, but it won't kill you. Meanwhile, you, on the other hand... Oh, here comes the armour piercing. Charles Martel does know what he's doing. Unfortunately, it looks like they all completely missed. And he's dead. Oh, and there are his torpedoes. Oh, and somebody else on the team just got a kill. That's nice. Finally. Yeah, the Cossack just cleaned up the low health Daring. And that's a very useful kill because the Daring is an extremely dangerous destroyer. That'll be the Fletcher over there, hidden behind the smoke screen. King Potato taking a couple of shots in his direction. Got nothing better to do at the moment. Dump some torpedoes just in case the Daring heads this way. Unfortunately, the friendly Masashi up there is on extremely low health and is... well, he's unlikely to survive for much longer. He is trying to motor on out of there. He's steaming south at full speed, but, well, spotted, open water, low health, dead. Not really a lot the Masashi could do. The friendly Baltimore, on the other hand, has no such excuse. What the hell are you doing? The Baltimore was actually in island cover behind that island to his southeast, and has now left the island cover in order to sail out into open water heading north, straight into the enemy team, after the Masashi died running away from the enemy team. So I'm not expecting that Baltimore to survive for much longer. Meanwhile, King Potato gets more torpedoes away, and he's just waiting out that main battery reload booster. Oh, the Baltimore's dead, because of course he is. San Martin, who was actually hiding behind an island and managed to get him with his torpedoes. So, of course the Baltimore died. Why wouldn't he? Meanwhile, just a couple of seconds, and that main battery reload booster is going to be back up. So, targets. Honestly, the Alsace is looking like the best target. Nice big flat broadside, although there are going to be no citadels here, but there's just plenty of target to shoot at. Maybe wait for him to fire his guns and then nuke him during the reload. They are pointing this way, but they're going to be pointing at the friendly Alsace. Screw it. Get yourself angled away, so if he does shoot at you, there's a good chance that you're going to be able to take it on the belt. The Alsace cannot overmatch. And as the Alsace withers under the weight of this barrage of semi-armour piercing, you will note that while somebody got a shot off at him, it wasn't the Alsace, but the timing of the attack was nearly perfect. There were 4 enemy ships over there. Now, of course, with the Alsace dead, there are only 3. But thanks to his positioning and timing, it was pretty much only the Alsace who was in a position to do anything, because at the moment where King Potato chose to start unloading, pretty much everybody else had their line of fire blocked. And now, of course, he's on cooldown, minute and 15 to go, before he can give somebody else the good news. This is very much a sort of feast or famine kind of ship. I mean, when that main battery reload booster is not active, the Austin is... It's kind of bad. It's got no health, no armour to speak of. Well, it's got just enough armour to arm the fuses on large caliber armour-piercing shells, which is bad, and not enough armour to actually be able to consistently be able to angle against large caliber armour-piercing shells. It has no radar, and the reload on these guns is actually it's kind of shit. I mean, they're 5-inch guns on a tier 10 cruiser. The Atlanta, with similar guns has a better rate of fire. The Austin's base reload is 8 seconds on 127mm guns at tier 10. The Atlanta, which is only tier 7, has a less than 5-second reload on what are basically the same guns. The only thing that makes the Austin even remotely competitive as a tier 10 light cruiser isn't the semi-armor piercing ammunition. It's that main battery reload booster, because when that thing is active, well, you've all seen what happens when that thing is active. And a couple of other ships on the enemy team are about to see what happens. I think that Buffalo is coming around the corner looking for the kill, because King Potato was detected right up until the point where the Buffalo sailed into shooting range. Although I may have been being a bit too generous to the Buffalo. Meanwhile, there's the Cunaberti. Cunaberti's dead. Now the Buffalo. And despite the fact that King Potato was detected and that the Buffalo does have radar and isn't using it, the Buffalo was not actually coming around the corner looking for King Potato. He was coming around the corner looking to get into a point-blank range gunfight with the angled Alsace instead. And, yes, really. Anyway, he's dead too. Disappointingly, that was not a double strike. Oh shit. This is going to hurt, because that's in Ohio, those are 18-inch shells, and that is what happens when the USS Austin gets hit by large caliber armor-piercing shells, regardless of angle. Now, the Ohio's guns knocked his engines out, and as a cruiser captain, probably doesn't have the last stand skill, so he was forced to burn his damage control in order to get the ship moving and out of line of fire. Unfortunately, because the Ohio's secondaries are also no joke, they managed to set a fire right after his damage control had expired. So he's now on low health and burning, although cruiser, so not like a fire's going to last a full minute. He's not a battleship. The fire is now out. The team have just lost the Alsace. See, here's what I don't understand in this battle. The enemy team have more kills, and it's arms race, not domination, so there are no cap circles to be fought over and controlled for points, except for the key area that's just appeared in the middle of the map. So how are the enemy team losing? Well, they're losing on points, they're not losing on kills. Speaking of kills, King Potato is responsible for 5, count them, 5 of his team's 6 kills. It would be really nice if somebody else on his team, other than that tier 8 Cossack, could sink something. Of course, the problem now, of course, is that central key area, because once it appears, whoever controls it basically wins the game. Because with that thing capped, you start gaining 10 points every second. Fletcher's up, main battery reload booster is up, Fletcher goes undetected, potential disaster. Oh no, all of these shots, nothing to shoot at, what are we going to do? Oh, hello, enemy carrier. Come on. We've only got a couple of seconds left. Oh, it's on cooldown. Oh no, slow reload. We're going to get... Yes, there we go, carrier kill, best kind of kill. Fletcher, also on low health, unfortunately. Slow reload again, like I said, feast or famine. This ship is kind of bad when it doesn't have the reload booster up. It does throw a lot of shit at the wall, it just throws it kind of slowly. Fortunately, enough shit was thrown, the Fletcher is dead, and honestly, that really should have been his second double strike. I mean, first against the Cunaberti and the Buffalo, no double strike, just a fraction too slow. And then the Pobeda and the Fletcher. Again, no double strike, just a fraction too slow. Personally, King Potato, I think you were robbed. He was getting very excited in chat there, by the way. I don't know if you saw it. It was, let's go, come at me. And, well, who can blame him? Oh, and somebody else on the team has actually managed to sink something. It was the carrier taking out the Ohio. Oh, it took out the Ohio. That's great news, because the Ohio... Well, you saw what it did to him earlier. You don't want that happening again. You're going to need to do something about that cap circle, though. But given that there is still a Musashi on the enemy team, and it also has 18-inch guns, it would be wise for him to continue playing it safely. They're not in any immediate danger of losing. So he can continue to afford to take his time. Oh, and maybe pick up some of these buffs. It looks like he's going for this one. And the... Is it a Drake? Should be able to get the other one. Oh, a reload... Increased reload speed buff. It's not like he needs it. Well, I suppose he does kind of need it when the booster's on cooldown, because without the booster, this ship has a extremely pedestrian reload. There's the enemy San Martin. In case you're wondering what that thing is, because I was, It's a Tier 10 Pan-American cruiser, light cruiser. The idea is, what would happen if Argentina had decided to commission a whole bunch of new light cruisers and base them on the USS Worcester? And of course, what would have happened in reality, and no disrespect intended towards Argentina here, but if Argentina had made that decision, we'd be looking at a patch of empty ocean right now, because, well, there's a reason why the Argentine Navy buys anything bigger than a frigate, usually from Britain or America, because Argentina cannot build anything bigger than a frigate. And there's no shame in it, most countries can't. King Potato, however, is about to redress this historical inaccuracy by restoring the open ocean to what it should actually look like if Argentina had decided to make that kind of decision. I mean, you know, it's shooting back, and it's basically a Worcester. It's not good enough. In a nutshell, not good enough. I mean, it was getting shot at by the Yamato, and I think the Cossack as well, but I'm pretty sure that the majority of the damage there was actually done by King Potato, even though the Yamato... Actually, the Yamato, it was a fire that sank the San Martin. A fire set by... Yes, the Yamato was well outside of secondary gun battery range. It was actually firing high explosive at a light cruiser. Why is the Kaga moving closer to... Well... Okay, so he's inside visual range. He got spotted and shot at by the Musashi. That could have been very dangerous, but it's even more dangerous for the Musashi, because the Kaga might be a carrier 2 tiers lower, but it's a Musashi. And the Musashi basically doesn't have any AA. I mean, it has some. Sister ship of the Yamato, but the Yamato's AA is bad and the Musashi's is even worse. King Potato bemoaning the fact that that should have been his 8th kill, but honestly, if the Yamato had had the correct ammo loaded for shooting at a light cruiser, it would have killed it a lot faster. Meanwhile, the Kaga has gone down, because why on earth would you sail that close to a ship armed with 18-inch guns? And King Potato gets his 8th kill anyway, because of course the Musashi had just fired and all the guns were pointing in the wrong direction. Now, with just one enemy ship left alive, ooh, an enemy ship who, well, it's a submarine, and it has managed to torpedo and sink the Drake, although there's very little chance. I mean, the enemy team were just momentarily down to less than 100 points. But the kill on the Drake from the, is it a Salmon? Some kind of submarine. It's bought them some breathing space, but now the Salmon has to cap this central key area, and that is never going to happen with a Cossack. And okay, the Yamato is not much threat to him, but a Cossack and an Austin. Yeah, I don't rate his chances. In order to take this central cap, he's first going to have to kill the Cossack, and then he's going to have to kill the Austin. Oh, he's gotten spotted on the surface. The Kaga does still have some torpedo planes, but he's not stupid. He instantly submerges. Austin does go brrrt, and nothing. I mean, the Cossack was shooting at him as well, and look at that volume of fire. I mean, we've all seen it before, you know what it means, but something has to actually be on the surface for these shots to do any damage to it. And despite the fact that the Cossack is chasing him down, I mean, the Cossack's not the fastest destroyer in the world, but neither's a submerged submarine, or at least it shouldn't be. Yes, I know this is, well, the Warships, and reality has practically nothing to do with it. But even if the Cossack is on top of that submarine, with his hydro going, all the submarine has... Remember, hydro, the thing that was invented to find submarines, will not find submarines if the submarine is at maximum depth. And that's all... I think it's a Salmon. That's all the submarine has to do. I'll tell you one thing, though. I've got a lot of time for that Cossack player. I don't know if you just caught it in chat. I mean, for one thing, he's a Tier 8 destroyer in a Tier 10 arms race battle, and he didn't just die uselessly in the first 3 minutes of the match. He's still alive, he's still fighting, he's still got almost all of his health right at the end of the battle. He's got a kill as well. He took out the Daring, let's not forget, an extremely dangerous Tier 10 destroyer, and I don't know if you saw it in chat, he is now volunteering to chase down that submarine, not so he can get the kill, but so King Potato can get his 9th kill. What an absolute legend that Cossack player is. Thankfully, King Potato is not immediately rushing to take him up on his offer. He's making sure this key area gets flipped, because with this area captured, the game doesn't end instantly, but it ends very, very quickly, because you suddenly start gaining 10 points every second. Key area captured, off he goes. Sadly, however, despite the Cossack's best efforts, despite King Potato's best efforts, that enemy submarine player, he knows when he's beat and he's in no rush to die. And with 30 seconds of the match to go, He's about to pop up in chat and let everybody know that they're wasting their time chasing him because he's still got 2 minutes of air left. There it is. And he ain't coming up for anybody. Thank you very much. I mean, when you're in that submarine situation, there are 3 things that you can do. You can just run and hide and drag it out to the bitter end, but there's less than 30 seconds left, so it doesn't really matter. You can say, come at me, bro, and at least make a fight of it. And, well, there's the middle ground where you can run and hide, but at least let everybody know that they're wasting their time chasing you down. And he didn't really waste anybody's time because there was less than 30 seconds left anyway. So, congratulations to King Potato in everybody's favourite minigun for 8 kills and 194,000 damage done in this tier 10, although there were some tier 9s and 8s involved as well. Arms race battle here on the Islands of Ice map. And of course, big shout out once again to the Cossack player who, I mean, you know, tier 8 destroyer, and he finished 3rd on experience done, and of course was an absolute gentleman, offering up the 9th kill just to make King Potato's day. Even though it was pointless because there was no way the submarine was coming up to fight, but hey, at least he made the offer. And that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.